So for today's fun little project, I'm going to be trying to design a book cover for Matilda. I recently reread it and I thought it would be a good one to pick out. I mean, obviously it's one that nobody would really recreate with Quentin Blake's iconic art, but I thought it'd be a good one to test out with such strong characters and see. So I have briefly done a little thumbnail and some character sketches just to kind of get the first ideas, and I think I'm going to put the thumbnail into Procreate and come up with a few other designs of thumbnails for the cover, so I can get an idea of what I'm going to do, and then we'll take it from there. So this is just a sped up process of how I sketched out the initial thumbnails. The key part with making thumbnails is really just to get all your ideas down as quickly as possible. So I don't pick a fancy pen, I don't think about line weight or it looking nice, it is just sketching. Often I will do this in my sketchbook, but I sometimes find that doing it digitally, you kind of will get more out, and you can rearrange and adjust the sizes. That you see me doing a lot of here is selecting an area and making it bigger, making it smaller. It gives a lot more freedom to adjust your ideas as you're going. The key things with these was obviously getting the title in and getting the author in there somewhere. And yeah, I was really just trying out as many different ideas as I could, like not going with just my first initial thought, which is what I would normally go with, and trying to look at different ways of presenting the same image. They don't need to be that different, but also with this such a small format, you can go quite out there with the different designs you're doing. It doesn't have to look good, you can just try anything. So these are the designs so far. I've made 8 different ones. I think like some of them, this one doesn't really show much of the book and this isn't the best layout, but I like this one, and I don't know, this one's quite cool too. This one's a bit more like the one on the page before, and then this one's probably too busy, too many details. I just wanted to get a few out. So I'm going to pick one and then I will finalize it out. I'll probably ask my partner to help me decide which one works best. So after doing a bit of research, I have put together a sort of template so that I can make other book cover designs, and so that I know I'm doing this mostly to the right boundaries and whatnot. So this is for a standard 5" by 8" cover, and the way I've worked it out is I've converted inches to centimeters, so it is 12.7 wide. So this bit point from here to here will be 12.7 centimeters. This is 12.7 centimeters with a 2 centimeter spine, and then a 0.3mm bleed. So that makes it 28 centimeters wide, and it is then 20.32 centimeters high with a 3mm bleed on each top and bottom, making it 20.92 centimeters high. So yeah, I might write this in the description, or I might put this file or this image for you or something, in case anybody wanted to do this themselves, because this took me quite a bit of, there are templates out there and whatnot, and obviously you would change this up depending what you were doing. You'd probably do it in InDesign or Photoshop, but for this is just kind of a example for me to start out with. You want to make sure that you are in CMYK if you're doing anything for printing. The last thing you're going to want is to have to change RGB to CMYK, which you can do, but often it will mess the colours up. It's always safest to just start from the get-go in CMYK, and you can change that just by, if you click, not there, there we go. So as you can see, these are RGB, and when you make a new one, you can go to color profile. You'll need to set that before you start your document. So there's RGB, there's CMYK, and you're going to want to put the dimensions and then make sure you are set to centimeters, millimeters, inches, or pixels, whatever you need. And I like to do it 300 dpi normally. So now that I have set up all of that template, I'm going to put my favourite designs in and kind of sketch out how it could look. So since we have our template here, it's nice and easy. I just selected the sketch from the previous file, copied and pasted it, or I think actually I added in the image, and then I just go in over the top. For this, because it's such a base sketch, I did go in with a simple pen again and sketch over the top so that I knew more what I was doing. This just keeps the lining process a lot easier. And as you can see, I played around with the positioning of the books a lot. I couldn't quite get the perspective right on the falling ones, and that's definitely something I need to work on in the future, is my perspective. Or even if I'm not doing the most realistic perspective, it's you kind of want it to come from somewhere, so that some things don't have to look perfect perspective wise, but they still need to be recognizable and show the right image, and that's something I need to develop a bit more. But then I went over the top with a clean pen, well, just to do the basic line art. As you can see, I've got the spine marked in, so and with the bleed, you want to be working so that stuff goes in the bleed, but anything that is in the bleed, you don't care if it gets chopped off. My bleed is actually, I think, a little bit bigger than a normal bleed would be, but this for me just makes sure I know absolutely that nothing is going to get lost and disappear in there. And yeah, I start with the line art first. I did the whole thing, so then you can adjust it. It's always better to get all of your lines done, I find. And then I went in with colour. I didn't actually try out many colour palettes with this one, and possibly if I was doing this again, I would definitely maybe do some thumbnails with colour and check out the different variations, see how they worked. But with this, I just went in with my normal standard colour palette that I've made for previous images, and I picked colours from there and worked with that. I was going for very primary colours, simple. I wanted Matilda to stand out enough from the background, so she's red on the blue, and then that middle spine I couldn't quite get right. I did end up with going, I think, with just a slightly darker blue, so that it would stand out. And as always, I add in a few sparkles. I put in some textures over the top at the end and highlights and stuff. So there you go, you can kind of see the process of how it all comes together. So here we have the finished book cover, and it's not perfect, it's not quite exactly what I wanted, but it's something, and I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. I like the colours. I kind of went with my usual colour palette, and I think it reads just about well enough, the title. But yeah, it was a fun little challenge to try out, and I hope you've enjoyed along with watching me go at it. I just put this O.3mm in instead of the actual blurb, but just to kind of show where the space would go, and of course added sparkles. But yeah, I will see you soon. Let me know any other fun little things you'd like to see me do, and I hope you have a good week. Goodbye. Bye.